As we approach Shabbos Chazon and Tisha B'Av, we try to put ourselves in the proper frame of mind. If there was one word, if we were asked what word encompasses the feelings that we are supposed to have or the experiences of Tisha B'Av in this period of time, many of us would say the word Echa, oh how. And that word Echa appears 3 times over Shabbos Chazon and on Tisha B'Av. The first time it appears is in Parshas Devarim, where Moshe Rabbeinu is lamenting the fact that the Jewish people are quarreling, fighting with each other, arguing with him. And he says, Eicha esal levadi tarchachem masachem verivchem. How could I possibly take all of this on my shoulders, watching you fight? What leader wants to see his people fighting? What parent wants to see their children fighting? The second time we see the word Echa is when Yeshayahu Hanavi, Isaiah the prophet, has a vision, and he envisions Yerushalayim being destroyed, the city being desolate. And he says, Echa Haisalazona, hoping that he would provoke the people to do tshuva, that they would see the possibility of things going in the wrong direction, and that would make them repent. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. He's the second one who uses the word Echa. And the final person who uses the word Echa is Yirmiyahu HaNavi. He's the Navi, he's the prophet who warned, and he experiences destruction. And so Yirmiyahu HaNavi says, Echa Yashva Badad, look how Yerushalayim now sits alone. The Beis HaMikdash is gone. The Jewish people are exiled. He experiences it firsthand. So that word Echa, we have to ask ourselves a question, what does it mean to us? Chazal teach us, the Gemara says, that in every generation, if the generation doesn't have the Beis HaMikdash rebuilt within it, then there is something wrong within the generation that's causing the Beis HaMikdash to remain necharav, to remain destroyed. And the Medrash explains to us that this word, Echa, was so significant that these 3 characters and leaders who used this word saw the Jewish people at different moments in their history. Moshe Ra'ah B'Shilusa, Moshe saw the Jewish people as the Jewish people matured. Yeshayahu B'Pachzusa, Yeshayahu saw the Jewish people as they were fragile. And Yirmiyahu saw the Jewish people in B'nai Velusa, he saw the Jewish people when they were disgraced. Each a different angle. So Moshe sees them at a certain moment as they're starting to mature as a people. Yeshayahu sees them when they're fragile, who knows what's going to happen with them. And Yirmiyahu sees them when they're unfortunately disgraced. And what's the lesson to be learned from this? So Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, Zechat Tzadik Levracha, explains that in every seed is the potential to grow something else. So if a person sees a seed within a fruit, they could take that seed, let's say an apple seed, and they'll take that seed and they'll plant it in the ground, and there could be an apple tree that grows from it. And from that apple tree there will be fruit, there will be apples, that people can eat those apples. But if there's something wrong with the seed, it may still grow a tree, but we'll be able to look at the tree and we'll be able to look at the fruit, and we'll say, you know what, those apples don't look like they're very appetizing. And there's something wrong with the tree. The tree does not look like it's a good, healthy apple tree. He says that's what happened to Klal Yisrael. That's what happened to the Jewish people. Bishilusa, the Medrash says, in its maturity like a fruit. That Moshe saw the Jewish people as they were maturing. He saw something wrong. He saw the fact that they were fighting over nonsense, that they were complaining over nonsense. And he said, if this doesn't get fixed, then eventually it could lead to disaster, where Yeshayahu sees the disaster developing, and he says, oh no, this might actually happen, and Yirmiyahu experiences it actually happening. So where does this mashal, where does it leave us? It leaves us back to the Gemara that says that if Yerushalayim is not rebuilt in our generation, then it's as if we destroyed it. We have to ask ourselves a question and take a look at our seed and wonder and say, what is it about the seed in each and every one of us? Are we trying to correct the mistakes of the previous generation? If the second Beis HaMikdash was destroyed because of sinas chinam, of baseless hatred, is there part of us that we could look at during this period of time, on this Tisha B'Av, and say, what about me? What about my seed is a seed of perhaps I'm missing love. Perhaps there's too much hatred inside for my fellow Jews. And on this day of Tisha B'Av is the day in which we can plant that seed to rebuild the Beis HaMikdash. And that begins within each and every one of us. It begins within planting our seed so that the tree grows for generations, to have a love of the Jewish people on an individual level and on a global level. We may differ in many different ways, but the ahava that one Jew has for another is no greater nachas, no greater happiness and joy that brings to our Creator, to the Ribono Shel Olam. May we do our part this Tisha B'Av in looking at our seed, looking at the blemishes in it and trying to correct it, so much so that we will be able to be the generation that will celebrate the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash, the third Beis HaMikdash, in our times. Thank you for listening, and have a good Shabbos.